The stars had watched quietly as war came and went. Now they watched something else. Peace. But it was not the kind of peace that came easily. It came after fire, pain, and long silence. Earth had stood against the largest powers in the galaxy. Many had fallen. Some had surrendered. Others had joined. The old Galactic Union was no more. Its halls were empty, its flags taken down, its lies exposed. On the planet Areas, people were still rebuilding. Cities were rising again. Families planted crops. Children laughed in the streets, though they still remembered the day of fire. Commander Jason Hale stood near the ruins of the old Capitol building. It was being turned into a memorial. Names were being carved into stone, names of those lost in the attack. Beside him stood a young boy. It was the same boy Jason had seen during the first visit to Alara. Now, the boy wore a new uniform, one of the helpers who guided the rebuilding teams. "They won't forget us now," the boy said. Jason looked at him and nodded. "No, they won't." Across the stars, ships flew not for war, but for rebuilding. Earth had created the Circle of Honor, but it was more than a name now. It had become a system, a new council, a gathering of worlds that promised not to repeat the past. There were rules, fair trade, equal voice, protection of all species, no matter their size or power. Every world had a say. On Earth, President Rachel Monroe stood before the assembly. One last time. Her hair had turned grey. Her voice was slower now, but still strong. "This is the end of one story," she said. "Not the end of our journey. We stood when others tried to push us down. We fought not because we loved war, but because we were tired of being stepped on." She looked across the room. "Now we build a future where no one has to suffer like we did. We will be the voice that stands against silence. We will be the hand that lifts, not strikes. And we will never let the galaxy forget what happens when the patient are pushed too far." She stepped down that day, not because she was forced, but because she believed it was time for others to lead. Her name became legend in orbit above Vir-El. The old capital of the Union, the last of the Union buildings, was cleared. In its place, a new center was built, not made of stone or gold, but of strong steel and clear glass. Anyone could walk in. Anyone could speak. It was called the Hall of the Free. Outside it stood a statue. It showed a human hand, open and reaching forward. Around it were the symbols of the 12, founding member worlds of the Circle. People came from every system to visit it. One wall held a long message. It was not loud or angry. It was simple. No species will ever forget the moment humanity's patience finally snapped. Captain Maria Lane stood on a high platform, watching ships come and go. She had led missions others feared. Now she trained new officers. Her work had changed the way the galaxy viewed humans. A reporter once asked her, "What gave humans their strength?" She answered without pause, "We remember." She meant it. Every soldier remembered the screams from Alara. Every child remembered the quiet voices of their parents trying to explain why their homes were taken. Every leader remembered the long years of waiting, hoping for fair treatment. Now, they remembered those who stood up, those who said no more. The Varnak, once proud enemies, now worked side by side with Earth's scientists. Together, they developed clean energy for poor planets. The Zenthari built new schools with humans on their moons. The Selnari taught peacekeeping skills to all new council members. Even the old enemies of the Last Order were gone. Their leaders were tried in open courts. Some were jailed. Some were sent back to rebuild what they had broken. No one was hunted. No one was tortured. Earth did not become cruel, even when it had the power to do so. That was what shocked the galaxy most, when humans won. They did not crush. They healed. Years passed. The circle of honor became the new center of law and diplomacy. More worlds joined, not out of fear, but from respect. The old songs of fear faded. New songs were written. Songs about courage, about standing up, about change. And always, in those songs, one moment returned again and again. The day Earth's voice rose, the day Earth's patience snapped, the day the galaxy changed, and deep in space, beyond the reach of trade routes and busy worlds, a quiet beacon blinked. It was placed by the first Terran scouts who dared to step beyond what was known. The message it sent out was the same every hour. We came in peace. We stayed in silence. You pushed too far. We are awake now. And from that silence, a new light had grown. Humanity had become the memory the stars would never forget. The stars around Earth were quiet, but the silence did not mean peace. It was the calm before the storm. The Galactic Union was weak now. Many member worlds had left. Some joined Earth, others stayed neutral. Only a few still stood against humanity. But they were afraid. Their ships stayed close to home. Their leaders stayed silent. Earth did not stop. Commander Jason Hale stood inside the war room at Terran Command. He looked at the map in front of him. It showed the location of a massive enemy base in Sector 9. This base was hidden for years. It sent orders to pirate groups and supplied weapons to those who attacked human colonies. Jason turned to his officers. We take it down. No warnings, no messages. We go now. The human fleet moved fast. They came out of jump space like a storm. Before the enemy could react, the humans had surrounded the base, but they did not fire. Jason opened a channel to the base. This is Commander Hale of the United Terran Fleet. Surrender now. No one has to die. There was silence for a moment. Then the enemy commander replied, "You don't scare us, human." Jason gave the order. A pulse wave hit the base. It shut down their shields and power. Their weapons were useless. 10 minutes later, the base was taken. No blood, no fire, only silence. Jason stood inside the control room of the base and looked at the prisoners. You were part of what hurt us. Now you will answer for it. Back. On Earth, President Rachel Monroe spoke to a group of new allies. Leaders from the 12 alien nations who had joined the Circle of Honor sat with her. She spoke calmly. We have done much, but it is not over. The old powers still hold on to lies. They still hide what they did. We will not stop until the truth is known across every world. They all agreed. The next move was clear. They would go to the core worlds, the places where the worst crimes were buried under politics and power. Captain Maria Lane was sent to lead a mission into one of the oldest Union archives. It was hidden on a frozen planet called Verdanus. Inside were files and recordings never shared with the public. Maria and her team landed without being seen. They moved through snow and ice, entered the archive, and copied everything. Records of how the Union had covered up attacks on human settlements. Proof of how leaders gave orders to steal from Earth's colonies. She sent the files to Earth. They were broadcasted across the galaxy. People were shocked. Protests began on more planets. In some cities, statues of Union leaders were pulled down. On other worlds, People demanded their governments leave the Union and join Earth. Even the Zenthari could no longer ignore the truth. On their capital world, young Zenthari leaders met in secret. They spoke of change. They wanted peace with Earth. The old council tried to stop them but failed. The youth had the support of the people. Within days, the Zenthari government fell. A new one took its place and sent a message to Earth. We were wrong. We want peace. We want to make it right. President Monroe replied, "You cannot erase the past, but we can build a better future." The circle of honor grew. More worlds joined it. Even some former enemies. But not all gave up. A group of Union loyalists, angry and proud, formed a new fleet. They called themselves the Last Order. They promised to crush Earth and restore the old power. They launched a surprise attack on the world of Eras, a human ally. The attack was brutal. Buildings fell. Civilians died. It was the worst act of violence since Earth began its response. The message came to Earth within minutes. Jason Hale was already preparing a response. The fleet left orbit. It reached Eras in hours. What they found made the soldiers angry. Homes destroyed. Children crying. A city burned to the ground. Jason did not speak to the enemy. He gave no warning. The human fleet moved like a blade. Every ship of the Last Order was taken down. Their command ship tried to run. It was caught and disabled. The leaders were captured. The world watched. Jason stood before the survivors. You thought we would break. You thought this would scare us. But we do not break. We rebuild, and we remember. Back on Earth, President Monroe stood before the human assembly. She wore black to honor the dead on Arius. "This is the last time we stay silent when the innocent suffer," she said. "From this moment forward, every person who thinks they can hurt us without cost will see the truth. We do not want war, but we are no longer afraid of it." The speech was heard across the stars. Even those who once hated Earth now began to understand. The humans were not fighting for power. They were fighting for a future where no one had to beg for peace. A future where strength served justice. In the skies above Earth, the stars no longer looked cold. They looked like a path forward. The galaxy was changing, and Earth was leading the way. The war had not been declared, but the galaxy already felt its weight. The silence from Earth was more terrifying than threats. Human fleets moved in shadows, striking with speed and precision. No messages came before or after. Only silence and action. Commander Jason Hale stood aboard the human flagship Vanguard. The ship hovered near the edge of Zenthari space. Behind him, thousands of human ships waited in dark space, hidden by advanced stealth fields. They did not light up. They did not broadcast signals. Jason looked at the screen. Status. His officer, Daniel Brooks, replied, "Scouts confirm the Zenthari have moved most of their ships to defend their capital. They've left their border systems weak." Jason gave a short nod. Time to send the message. 3 ships jumped forward. They were not warships. They carried supplies and messages. They landed on small Zenthari colonies with clear orders. No weapons were used, only words. In each colony, a message was played on every screen. It was the voice of President Monroe. "We do not seek to destroy your homes. We do not want your planets. We want justice. We want respect. If your leaders will not speak to us, we will speak to you." The message ended with silence. Then the ships left. No harm done, but the people on those colonies understood the meaning. Earth was not afraid. Earth was watching, and Earth could strike at any moment. Back on the capital world of the Zen, panic spread. Military leaders argued. Some wanted to attack Earth directly. Others feared they would lose everything. In the middle of this, a new problem appeared. Protests began. Many young Zenfari had seen the human messages. They questioned the Council's actions. They demanded truth. Some even asked for peace with Earth. The Zenfari Council sent a desperate message to the Galactic Union. They asked for backup, but the Union had its own problems. Worlds that once laughed at Earth were now quiet. Their people asked questions. Why had they treated humans so badly? Why had they allowed lies and abuse? Some members of the Union began to break away. They wanted peace with Earth before it was too late. In one of the old neutral zones, a group of smaller alien nations met with human leaders. These nations had long suffered under Union rule. They had lost trade, freedom, and voices in the Council. Now they saw a new future. Captain Maria Lane represented Earth in the meeting. She listened more than she spoke. A leader from the Selnari people stood up. He was old, with silver skin and deep eyes. We were told that humans were dangerous, that you would destroy what you touched. But we see now that you do not destroy. You take back what was stolen. You protect your own. Maria replied calmly, "We protect what is right. If you stand with us, we will protect you too." The alliance was made that day. 12 alien nations joined with Earth. It was not a military pact, it was a bond of trust. They called it the Circle of Honor. News of this alliance spread fast. More worlds began to consider leaving the Union. Back on Earth, President Monroe met with scientists and military leaders. They discussed the next step. Earth had more powerful technology than the galaxy knew. For years, humans had hidden their progress. Now they had to decide how much to reveal. One scientist, Dr. Ethan Ross, showed a new energy field device. It could shut down enemy weapons without harming people. "This will change everything," he said. "We can end battles before they begin." President Monroe nodded. "Then we use it, but only if they attack first." Her rule was clear. No first strikes, no war crimes. Every move must be clean and just. She wanted to win, but not like the others. Earth would not become what it fought against. Meanwhile, Commander Hale prepared a new mission. The target was a major data center used by the Union to spy on human colonies. It was deep in protected space, thought to be safe. The human fleet moved without warning. They appeared above the moon where the center was hidden. In less than 1 hour, the mission was done. The data was taken. The building was left untouched. No shots fired. No guards hurt. As the humans left, they left behind a simple message on the building walls. "You watched us, now we watch you." Across the galaxy, more and more people began to see the truth. Earth was not a threat to fear. Earth was a force to respect. On Virel, the Union Council was falling apart. Members blamed each other. Some tried to reach Earth in secret. Others prepared to flee. Ambassador Kelron from the Drax tried to regain control. "We must show strength. We must attack Earth directly." But even his own people had doubts. His calls for war were now seen as foolish. Sorella of the Lysari stood one last time in the council. She looked around at the broken room. "This is what you built, and this is how it ends. Not with a scream, but with silence." Outside the chamber, Ships began to leave the Union fleets. Some joined Earth, others simply returned home. The galaxy had changed, not through fire, not through fear, but through the moment Earth stopped waiting. The Galactic Union Council met in an emergency session on the capital planet Virel. The meeting hall was filled with noise. Leaders from different planets shouted over each other. Some were angry, some were scared. Others stayed quiet, unsure. What to do next? Ambassador Kelron from the Drax species stood up and raised his voice. He pointed at the large screen showing Earth's ships moving across different star systems. We must stop them now. The humans act like they own the galaxy. They are taking planets one by one. If we wait, we will be next. Another voice spoke, calm and clear. It was Sorella from the Lycery. Her people were known for peace and deep thought. We are not innocent, she said. We pushed them. We laughed at them. We used their kindness against them. And now they are not fighting with hate. They are fighting with purpose. Some in the council nodded. Others still believed humans could be beaten. Back on Earth, Commander Jason Hale stood in the command room of the Terran Fleet headquarters. He looked at a large map showing recent operations. Red markers showed areas now under human control. Ships moved fast and quietly. The enemy was always late to respond. Jason turned to his second-in-command, Rachel Lee. Status. Rachel answered without emotion. 4 more enemy bases secured. 0 losses. Zenthari fleet is falling back. We hold Sector 7 completely. Jason gave a slow nod. They thought we would stay silent forever. On a faraway world, Captain Maria Lane walked through the ruins of a mining station once used by the Tracians. Years ago, humans were forced to work there as slaves. Many had died. Now the station was empty. Her team searched the rooms and recovered data files. Maria sent a report back to Earth with one short message. This is what they did. The files showed cruel treatment, torture, and death. The human government shared the information with every world in the galaxy. Many citizens on alien planets were shocked. Some did not believe it. Others began to question the stories their leaders had told. Meanwhile, smaller alien nations that were also treated poorly by the Union began to reach out to Earth. These nations had stayed quiet before. Now they saw hope. They sent messages, offering help. President Rachel Monroe replied quickly, "We welcome all who want peace and justice. You will stand beside us, not beneath us." Her words reached people everywhere. Some alien leaders grew nervous. They saw that Earth was not building an empire. Earth was building respect. On the planet Elara, families still lived in fear. It was the sight of the attack that broke Earth's patience. The people there had lost children, friends, and homes. They lived in the shadows of ruins. Commander Hale arrived on Elara with his team. He walked through the broken buildings. He saw the pain in people's faces. He knelt beside a boy sitting near a burned wall. "Are you scared?" he asked. The boy looked up and said, "Will they come again?" Hale placed a supply pack beside him and said, "No, not while we stand here." Hale left a full squad behind. They built defense towers and energy shields. For the first time in months, the people of Elara slept without fear. Far from Elara in deep space, a human scout team found a hidden Varnak shipyard. This place built warships used against Earth and its allies. Instead of destroying it, the humans hacked the systems and took control. The ships turned on their owners. In a single day, the Varnak lost a third of their fleet. Fear spread across the galaxy. On Virel, the council met again. The room was quiet this time. There was no shouting, only silence. Sorella stood once more. Her voice was firm. Choose peace. Now, or prepare to fall. Kelron stood too. We are many. They are few. We can crush them. At that moment, the lights in the chamber dimmed. A message played across every screen. It was President Monroe. She stood alone, her face calm but serious. You treated us like children. You took what was ours. You lied. We asked for fairness. You gave us pain. She paused. This is not a war of revenge. This is not about power. This is about respect. You have one last chance. Choose what comes next. The message ended. The room stayed silent. Across the galaxy, everyone waited. Would the council choose peace, or would they force Earth to go even further? The stars were quiet. For over 50 years, Earth had been part of the Galactic Union, a council of hundreds of alien worlds. Humans had joined with hope, offering peace, knowledge, and friendship. At first, the aliens had welcomed them, but soon that welcome faded. Other species saw humans as weak. They were smaller in number, younger as a species, and they came from a planet still healing from its own wars. The aliens looked down on them. They gave humans the worst trade deals. They laughed at Earth's technology and culture. Some even called humans soft-skinned animals. But humans did not fight back. They worked harder. They studied the ways of the Union. They helped in peacekeeping missions. They sent aid during disasters. They followed the rules, even when others broke. Many on Earth believed that if they stayed kind, the others would respect them. Still, nothing changed. In fact, things got worse. Cargo ships from Earth were taxed more. Human ambassadors were insulted during council meetings. A few colonies were even attacked, but the Union only gave warnings to the attackers. No justice came. Captain Laura Barnes, a former space pilot from Texas, sat in the control room of the Terran Unity, a small human ship docked near the capital world of the Union. She looked tired. Her crew was quiet. They had just returned from a mission where alien pirates attacked a human outpost. Dozens had died. When the humans asked the Union for help, the Council simply said the area was outside their protection zone. Laura clenched her fists. Her crew watched her, knowing what she was thinking but not saying it. They all felt it, a slow anger growing like fire. On Earth, President Rachel Monroe stood in front of the United Human Assembly. She spoke calmly, but her eyes were hard. We came with open hands. We gave them trust. We asked only for peace. But what did they give us in return? Insults, attacks, silence. The chamber remained still. She took a breath. Today, we send a message, not in anger, not in hate, but in truth. The message was recorded and sent to every world in the Union. It was simple. This is the final warning. You have mocked us. You have harmed us. You have tested us for too long. If one more human life is taken without justice, then we will act. We do not seek war, but we will no longer accept abuse. Many alien leaders laughed when they saw the message. They called it empty words. They thought humans were bluffing, but not everyone ignored it. General Thalak of the Krell Empire watched the message twice. He was old and had fought in many wars. He knew the look in a warrior's eyes. He saw it in President Monroe. He saw it in the human ships growing stronger. Each year, he warned the Union Council. Do not mistake patience for weakness, he said. They did not listen. 2 weeks later, a human convoy carrying medical supplies was attacked near the border of the Zenthari worlds. All crew were killed. The Zenthari claimed it was a mistake. The council refused to punish them. That was the moment. The message was short. From Earth to the entire Union, you have sealed your fate. Then silence. For 12 hours, no ships left Earth. No words came. The stars around Earth were quiet again. Then, from the dark, they came. Not massive war fleets, not grand announcements. Silent. Ships. Thousands of them. Fast. Sharp. Moving like shadows. They hit military bases on the outer planets of those who had harmed humans. They did not bomb cities. They did not hurt civilians. They disabled defense grids. They took control of power plants. They erased data networks used for spying. Within 2 days, 6 alien systems were taken. No deaths, only complete control. The council panicked. They called for peace talks. But Earth did not answer. Captain Laura Barnes led a strike team on a known pirate base that had long worked with certain Union members. In less than 1 hour, the base was empty. Every pirate was arrested. All stolen goods were returned to human worlds. One of the prisoners, a Grell named Vosa, looked at her with fear. "You were supposed to be weak," he said. Laura did not smile. "We were patient." Back on Earth, President Monroe stood once more before the assembly. The lights were dim. The room was full of leaders who now understood what the rest of the galaxy had forgotten. "We asked for respect," she said. "Now we will take it."